Ooh, what's going on, people? It's your man the YB back once again. So we got another leaked clip here. It's a bit whack, I'm not gonna lie. Eddie Hearn fiending for USYKS belts. It's just corny, man. Listen, Eddie, I think I'm one of the few people actually. In fact, you know what? Let's get to the clip because I've talked too much. 100%. Here we go.
And obviously that rules all of us, and we help, when asked. And AJ is, penciled in to fight on that Wembley date. And, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the IBF belt now, because obviously when you become undisputed, you have all these mandatories. It's very difficult to get the chronological order right to, defend them all. And next up is Filip Hrgović. And Filip Hrgović was supposed to actually get the title fight before Saturday. And the ruling was that the IBF said the winner of Fury USYK must fight Filip Hrgović with no more exceptions. So there is a very strong chance that that belt will free up. Potentially Hrgović could even fight Dubois in the 5v5 coming up for the IBF world title. And maybe the winner fights AJ at Wembley on September the 21st. And then when AJ wins that, becomes a three-time world heavyweight champion and fights the winner of Fury USYK, it's for undisputed all over again. So honestly, anything could happen at this stage. And
so, people, you heard there from Eddie Hearn fiending for USYKS belt. Eddie, listen, let me start off as I was about to start off here. I'm one of the few people who believe USYK needs to fight AJ again. One of the very few. I reckon 20% or less of the population believe USYK needs to fight AJ again. I do. I'm one of them few. But even so, what I don't like is Eddie Hearn and Team AJ pretending, oh yeah, he can be three-time champion in the world. Listen, people, let me tell you this for free. Let me tell you this for free. I don't care what moody belt AJ gets again. If he don't beat Alexander Usyk, and he can never be champion at nothing. All he can ever be is the champion of the sidemen, right? Even if, let's say for example, Alexander Usyk retired tomorrow. I'm still going to struggle to call him a champion again. Why? Because he beat your ass twice. And he gone now, right? That's your era. Alexander Usyk is AJ's era. Yeah? Just because you hang around potentially longer than someone else. Let's say, for example, let's say AJ and Usyk fight again for a third time and Usyk wins. And then Usyk retires, and then AJ fights some random dude, pick someone, whoever you want, like Dubois for a random belt, and then, he's three times. Not really, though. Not really, though, is it? Come on. Honestly, when you put your head on the pillow, you know you're not really world champion. You're the dude who waited for a man to retire and nicked a belt kind of thing. And it's even worse when Alexander Usyk ain't retiring. Yeah? Alexander Usyk, he representing the belts, all four of them. And you're out here politicking. If I was AJ, I'd tell the governing body, I don't want that belt. I don't want it. I need him. Alexander Usyk should be the focus, not nicking moody belts that ain't yours. Fact. Just because the authorities, people, fights and championships are won in the ring. They're not won in the court system. The government can't make you world champion. Do you get that one there? The authorities can't ordain, you're world champion because we've politically stripped this guy and give it to you. Who does that? You know you're not. AJ, you know. Yeah? If you nick the belt off Usyk and then nick it off Hrgović, you know you're not the real champion. You're masquerading, it's fake, it's fugazi. Yeah? It's whack. Whack. And people, if AJ nicks the belt off Hrgović, or off Usyk and then off Hrgović, and then fights Usyk, I don't want to hear no one talk about it's a unification fight. Stop. Yeah? AJ versus Usyk 3 will be a bare bum in the shower versus the undisputed champion. I don't care what moody belt he got. I don't care where he got the belt from. It's a bare bum in the shower versus the undisputed champion. That's what happens. Until Usyk loses in the ring, he's undisputed champion. I don't care what this belt says. I don't care what that belt says. He has all the belts until he loses or retires. That's the bottom line. Yeah? And Eddie Hearn, he's like, ooh, Hrgović, ooh, Eddie, why do that for? Yeah, if he was a man, Hrgović should say, listen, I want next when he's free. Because all due respect, what's Hrgovic done? I was like, oh, let's call a spade a spade. What's Hrgovic done? Went life and death with Zhang, got punched up in my opinion, that was a draw. So who's Hrgovic beat? Who? No one. He's gone life and death with Zhang. Hrgovic is known for going life and death with Zhang. Is that World Championship worthy? Now I'll say, if Hrgovic knocks out Dubois, then we can start talking. But the point is, that means that Hrgovic is ready for a shot after knocking Dubois out. Yeah? Not before. Because he ain't done nothing. All he's known for is going life and death with Zhang. That don't make you World Championship caliber. Going life and death with dude. Right? That means you're in the mix for nothing. You need at least 2 good wins. Right? And I was saying, to be all due respect, I was saying the same before USYK was on the block. I believed USYK needed to beat Joe Joyce. To beat someone who's up there first, you don't just get shots, in my opinion. So I'm consistent here. And with that same consistency, I don't agree it's right that people should... USYK's worked 5 years for this in the heavyweight division, or X amount of years for this in the heavyweight division. He's just got there, and now they're stripping him. And what I don't like as well is the inconsistency. People, Alexander Usyk is fighting the best big old dudes as well. Back to back to back. Yeah? Usyk ain't picking cruiserweights in there. Newly born cruiserweights coming up, like Carrot Top does, right? Canelo's at 168, and he's picking all these middleweights. Sorry, all these light middleweights who are pumped up. Jamal Charlo, Munguia. Brand new. Jamal Charlo hasn't even never fought at 168. How's he fighting for the belt? We don't know. Munguia ain't even fought at 168. How he fighting for the belt? We don't know. And yet he, Mr. Carrot Top, he just posted up there with 4 belts for 3 years and never fought no one. Who's he fought in? When was his last big fight? Or when was his last fight of someone legitimate at 168? We don't know. And your Carrot Top just like... So what's his... Eddie, when you was representing Carrot Top, yeah, I didn't hear you mention about how it's hard for mandatories to get aligned and there's an order. You didn't say nothing about that. Carrot Top just sat there fighting bumps and ducking Benavidez and ducking the Cuban dude. That's what he was steady doing. And now all of a sudden, Usyk, just people, same as Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford just beat Errol Spence and he stripped his ass. The fuck? How can you just win the belts and in less than a year you've been stripped and you got Carrot Top swanning around for 4 years ducking Benavidez? 3 or 4 years. 2020 Benavidez or 2021 Benavidez was mandatory. How that possible? Now all of a sudden there's rules. Well, how does Carrot Top still have the IBF? We don't know. Or did he fight John Ryder or was it one of them moody ones? Come on people, stop. Yeah, just stop. It's infuriating. Yeah, so even if you do manage to politic and nick your way one of Usyk belts, don't talk about 3 times. Just forget about that. Yeah, AJ is a bare bum in the shower until he beats Usyk in the ring. I don't care what lawyers you've got, I don't care what politicians you've paid off, Eddie. Yeah? He a bare bum until he wins the belts in the ring, right? That's not rocket science here. I might ask people, if AJ can be world champion again, you might as well ordain me as world champion. Since we're just handing out belts that you ain't won in the ring, why can't I be world champion? Why can't I nick a belt off someone else who did 100%? Right? Why don't we all be world champion? If we're just posting up and taking the belt from the champion and having it passed to us, essentially. That's whack. 100%. Hrgovic don't deserve it. AJ don't deserve it. Because however long Hrgovic has been waiting, yeah, he ain't been doing nothing though, right? He's just been hanging around hating, moaning. Filip Hrgovic. I want to see who he's been fighting. Because all I know, this guy fought Zhang like 3 years ago, and I haven't heard of nothing since. He just moaning everywhere. Oh, Mark Demori. The fuck? Come on, people. This is the man who you believe, the undisputed champion, who just punched AJ up twice, punched big, scary, bare knuckle pussy up twice. Oh my god, look at this record, people. Stop. 2 years ago, the big Filip Hrgovic, who needs to strip Usyk, yeah, beat Zhang in life and death, got put down, got his cherry popped. Fact. The fight was close. Look how close this fight was, people. 115, 112. 114, 113. 115, 112. And this is Zhang put him down as well. Right? So it was a life and death fight with Zhang. Look who he was. People, stop. Look who he was fighting before Zhang. This dude, 1 star, never heard of him. This dude, 1 star, 1 star, 1 star. No stars. This cat got no stars. I've never seen that before. Yeah? So, Hrgović beats Zhang in a life and death and bare knuckle bet. Couldn't get any closer fight, yeah? He then fights Dempsey McKean. Who that? We don't know. 2-star Donny. Never heard of him. He then fights Mark Demori, a 1-star dude. Who is it? Never heard of him. And now he needs to strip USYK. Is that what it is now then? You can have one life and death fight with Zhang and then be on. To strip the undisputed champion. How despicable. Now I don't mind, yeah? If it's like a bum champion. Let's say there's IBF. Let's say all the belts are fragmented, yeah? And there's a champion like Billy Joe Saunders who's not fighting, who's inactive. Then absolutely the IBF should strip them. But when you've got an active champion, people, USYK just beat Dubois, right? USYK just beat Dubois as one of his mandatories, the WBA. Yeah? He just did that. Fact. He just arguably did the WBC mandatory as well, beating Tyson Fury. USYK stepped up and took that belt. So USYK's been doing mandatories back to back. And the AJ fight, that was the WBO mandatory. So USYK's doing mandatories. He's not doing carrot top. He's not saying, oh, I fought one mandatory, now I can fight 3 bums for the next 3 years. That's what carrot top does. He has one mandatory, and then for the next 3 years, he fights bums. And then another mandatory, and the next 3 years, he fights bums. USYK's in there doing exactly all he can do. All USYK can do, yeah, is fight mandatories back to back, which is what he's doing. Meanwhile, these dudes, Hrgović crying somewhere and doing what? Nothing. Yes, I'll give him credit for the Dubois fight, but that hasn't even happened yet. And for all we know, yeah, Dubois might not, or beat Hrgović, not my base case. My base case is Hrgović will win, but Dubois reasonably could beat Hrgović, and then what we've got? Then we've got, wait a minute, if Dubois beats Hrgović, then we've got a situation, yeah, where a man USYK just beat for the WBO mandatory takes one of his belts, not in the ring, and becomes the IBF mandatory. On what planet does that make sense? That for me is even worse than AJ becoming mandatory. At least with AJ becoming mandatory, I can see how AJ's changed. And again, I'm one of the few people who do believe that USYK needs to give AJ another fight. And I think USYK will. Why? Because it's a free 80 million from his point of view. And for all the people who think it's easy work for USYK, then it's just free money, right? Me personally, I think AJ is back on it again, potentially. I believe we need... My final confirmation will be AJ versus the winner of Hrgović and Dubois. If AJ goes into that fight, yeah, and he's pinging, and he's aggressive, and he's confident, then... I do think I've been wrong every time, so take it as you want, but I think he'll bust USYK up. Too big, too strong. But again, I spent the last months talking about Fury being too big, too strong, and he flapped it. So, like, I'm happy to be wrong, people. If USYK punch up Fury again and punch up AJ again, he'd the greatest of all time. But for me personally, I have to believe a big old man can do something. That's what I have to believe for myself, for my own sanity. But this situation here, it's whack. USYK is the undisputed champion, bottom line. There's no Mr. Take a Knee BLM Dubois going to change that. Yeah, there's no Mr. Fight Bums his whole career. Philip Hrgović going to change that. There's no, oh, my name AJ and I got punched up twice by the guy, but now I'm going to nick his belt. People, stop. There's no amount of AJ nicking a belt, Dubois nicking a belt that ain't his, and Hrgović nicking a belt that ain't his. They're going to change the fact Alexander USYK is the undisputed champion. So forget Eddie. Listen to me, Eddie. Eddie, listen. Eddie. Come here, Eddie. Come here right now, Eddie. Forget about it, yeah? Dubois, Hrgović, AJ are bare bums in the shower until they beat dude in the ring. Yeah, world championships aren't handed out in Congress. They're not handed out in Parliament, Eddie. As much as you'd like that to be the case. Eddie would love it if he could pay some moody politician to pass him a belt. He'd love that. AJ would be the 10-time world champion. Because Eddie would just keep paying for them. Right? But that's not how sport works. The real fans know there's going to be nothing real about that belt in September. You can convince yourself and start shouting 3 times, but that's how I'll know if AJ corny. If I see AJ celebrate winning that moody belt in September, knowing the man that beat him twice is still out there, and knowing that should really still be USYK's belt, that'll tell me, oh, this guy ain't changed. This guy ain't really focused on the task at hand. Because AJ's task at hand shouldn't be trying to nick a belt and become the fake 3-time champion. It should be, owe that little dude some. Yeah, AJ's mentality should be, fuck the belts, owe him something. He gonna get his. You see that there? It's completely different. It's not about the belts. It's not about nicking fake belts. It's about him getting his. Yeah, AJ need to feel like he owe little dude some. Owe him this one. Yeah, this one was for the last two. That's how AJ needs to be approaching this. Not, ooh, Eddie, put a call into the IBF and pressure them so we can nick that belt when I can jump on the ropes and talk about being 3-time. Nah, that's not the one for me. That's not going to be the one. If AJ wins that belt, I don't even want to see him put it on. I want to see him put it in his bag and give it to one of his jobbers. Give it to the guy who carried a spit bucket, yeah, and just keep it pushing. Get on the mic and say, listen, today wasn't about that moody, fake, stolen belt. Today was about putting myself in a position that guarantees me that get back against USYK, because he getting it. You see how I just laid out Hrgovic spark out. You're next. That's what I want to see. Don't want to see no fake, oh, I'm back on again, oh, I'm champion the world. No. That's what can't ever happen. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, subscribe. Let off the bell 100%, not that about it. Stop it.